So before starting today's lecture, I want to announce a very important point for you people, dear students. From tomorrow onward, there will not be live classes. The students who want to come to school are most welcome. And one more point for just this particular announcement is you will have to use your own transport. So this is very important information for you people. जो बच्चे स्कूल में आना चाहते हैं डाउट क्लियरिंग सेशन के लिए, they possess right to come. और कल से हमारी ये लाइव क्लासेस नहीं होंगी. Your serious moral responsibility to look at the things. तो टाइमिंग जो होंगे उसका आपको टाइम टेबल भेज दिया जाएगा. You will be able to get the proper schedule for that. Thank you. So now let us look at today's lecture. Today we will have to start with the new chapter, that is lesson 6 on the face of it. So I think you're crystal clear about today's topic, that is new chapter, lesson 6, and the name of the chapter is On the Face of It, and it is from SR, that is supplementary reader, Vistas. So this chapter is written by Susan Hill. So I think you are very clear about today's topic, lesson 6 on the face of it by Susan Hill. Just look at the brief intro of this particular chapter, a very fine way. But before that, consider your serious moral responsibility to open your registers and your pens or pencils must be in your hands, and you must be able to note down important points, or each and every point. It depends upon you how you are looking at. But I request you to be very serious. I request you to listen to things very carefully. Now just look at. So lesson 6 on the face of it, we look at the brief intro of the chapter. This is a play featuring an old man and a small guy. This particular chapter is the form of play. Play, I think you're crystal clear. जहाँ पे dialogue form में होता है, नाटक जिसको बोलते हैं. So you should be able to look at this particular point. This is a play featuring an old man. And a small boy. In the farmer's garden. Farmer's garden, you should be able to look at this particular point. Farmer's means old man's garden. Okay, you must be able to look at page number 56 of your book. Before you read, you should be able to look at that title. So you will find this particular sentence in the beginning. So, बेटे farmer इसलिए यूज किया गया है. Should be able to look at this particular point. पहले old man का नाम है, दूसरे नंबर small boy का है. Farmer मतलब old man. So you should be able to look at this particular point. The old man strikes up a friendship with a boy who is a very withdrawn and defiant. So this particular play is about an old man and a small boy. Automatically, this particular fellow is very serious fellow. Old man is very serious fellow. He wants to just look at the amiable temperament for a very small guy who was pessimistic due to the negativity of her life. ये जो बच्चा है यहाँ पे स्मॉल बॉय, वो टेंशन में है। क्यों टेंशन में है? ड्यू टू द नेगेटिविटी ऑफ हिज लाइफ। नेगेटिविटी क्या? his physical outlook was not up to mark. So one side of his face was burnt with chemical when he was very small. ये बच्चा जो है जब बहुत छोटा था, इसकी जो चीक थी और उसका एक साइड पूरी तरह से डैमेज हुआ। इससे केमिकल के कारण। यू शुड बी एबल टू लुक एट। ये ऑलरेडी मैंने कहा ना कि ओल्ड मैन is a very sincere fellow. He wanted to make this guy confident in spite of his handicap. So now just look at the things. What is the bond that unites the two? अब क्या है इनमें रिलेशन? तो अगर देखा जाए ह्यूमैनिटी से बड़ा रिलेशन कोई नहीं होता बेटा। तो he is a very fine human being. The name of this particular fellow, while you will study the chapter, you find the name is Mr. Lamb. He was a real human being. So that is why he wanted to make a small boy confident in spite of his negativity. I think you are crystal clear so far as micro introduction of this particular chapter is concerned. So I think you are clear कि ये चैप्टर नाटक फॉर्म में लिखा हुआ है, प्ले फॉर्म में लिखा हुआ है। दो लोगों के डायलॉग यहाँ पे आपको नजर आएंगे। You will be able to study old man or small boy. So I think crystal clear up to this particular point. इसको जो कंडक्ट किया गया है, that was conducted in ओल्ड मैन्स गार्डन। जो भी ये नाटक होता है उसके लिए वेन्यू होता है जहां उसको आई थिंक इलेबोरेट किया जाता है, जहां उसकी शूटिंग होती है, जहां उसको बनाया जाता है। आई थिंक क्रिस्टल क्लियर सो फार एज माइक्रो इंट्रोडक्शन ऑफ दिस पर्टिकुलर चैप्टर इज कंसर्न। जस्ट लुक एट अगेन इंट्रोडक्टरी पार्ट। तो सबसे पहले मैं आपको अनाउंस करूंगी व्हाई द चैप्टर इज टाइटल्ड एज ऑन द फेस ऑफ इट। Should be able to recognize why the chapter is titled like that. इस चैप्टर का नाम ये on the face of it क्यों है? You should be able to understand that particular fact. तो एक्चुअली जो टाइटल होता है वो ऐसा पॉइंट होता है जो कि स्टोरी के बिगिनिंग से शुरू होता है और सारी स्टोरी में वो घूमता है और इट रिमेन्स till the end of the story. So on the face of it, why the chapter is titled like that? Now look at the genuine point of this chapter. तो क्या है बेटे ये? You have to look at the things. तो इसका जो मीनिंग पहले आप समझो, then you will be able to recognize the fact. क्योंकि ये थोड़ा सा कॉम्प्लिकेटेड। अदरवाइज जितने भी हमने चैप्टर किए हैं, the titles used to be easy. तो कॉम्प्लिकेटेड नहीं होता था। इसका ये टाइटल थोड़ा सा कॉम्प्लिकेटेड है। तो आई वांटेड टू हाईलाइट द थिंग्स फर्स्ट। तो जस्ट लुक एट द थिंग। तो इसको जरा इंटरप्रिटेशन लिख लीजिए इसकी। समथिंग इज गुड व्हेन वी टेक अ ग्लिम्प्स ऑफ इट। समथिंग is good when we take a glimpse of it. But upon a closer look, it is not so. Or vice versa. I think you must have noted down these words. तो इसको इस चैप्टर के मीनिंग समझने के लिए, इसकी वाई का आंसर देने के लिए you will have to understand these words first. तो क्या है ये words बेटा? Something is good when we take a glimpse of it, but upon a closer look it is not so, or vice versa. ये कोई चीज अगर हम उसकी झलक लेते हैं, स्लाइटली हम किसी चीज को देखते हैं, वो कई बार अच्छी लगती है, लेकिन जब उसकी क्लोजर लुक यानी कि हम डीप लेवल से देखते हैं उसको, तो थिंग्स बिकम contrary on it. So you should be able to look at this particular meaning. I think meaning of these words is crystal clear. So on the face of it, this particular chapter is titled like that because while Mr. Lamb was able to look at the small guy, his name was Derek, immediately was able to look at the pig in a different order. While he had seen the guy closely, he was able to look at the negativity of that personality, negativity of Derek or Derek. So we are able to announce this particular point that title of this particular story or play is 100% accurate. So I think crystal clear about the title of this play. Actually, this play is the form of story. लिखा ये play form में है, but ultimately we are able to get very fine story out of it. So you are crystal clear about the title, I think. Now the next step, again brief introduction of the author. Have to look at the author. We look at the author. The name of the author is Suzanne Hill. You will have to look at the things in a very sincere way. How? How means you have to look at Suzanne Hill was born in England. तो उनका जन्म इंग्लैंड में हुआ था in 1942. Next step for the introduction of the author is she is a prolific writer. So you have to look at the details and has authored many novels, collection of short stories and children's fiction. So you have to highlight the assignments done by this particular author. तो क्या क्या उन्होंने लिखा है? You have to look at novels, collection of short stories, collection of short stories and children's fiction. बच्चों की कहानियां. What is the difference between फैक्ट होता है रियलिटी में जो होता है, and if we look at fiction, fiction means stories. तो इन्होंने बच्चों के लिए कहानियां लिखी, नॉवल लिखे और बहुत सारी और भी शॉर्ट स्टोरीज इन्होंने लिखी. I think you are crystal clear up to this particular point. So one more point about the author you should be able to look at. Suzanne Hill. So she was very fine author. तो जरा designation देखते हैं. We have to look at the designation of this. She was appointed commander of the commander COMMANDER of the order of the British Empire in 2012. You are crystal clear, I think, up to this particular point. Brief introduction of the author is crystal clear, I think. Now just look at the next step of the chapter, that is main themes. Again, it is a part of brief introduction. Because well begun is half done. अगर हम किसी भी चैप्टर को बेटा अच्छे तरीके से बिगनिंग करते हैं फ्रॉम टाइटल टू एवरीथिंग, we are able to understand the things in a very fine way. Now just look at the main themes of this particular chapter. So look at the things. First theme is disabled people. Disabled people are full of tensions or negativity. I think we are crystal clear. Just look at the second theme. So not actually a second theme, it is elaboration of what we have written as first theme of this particular chapter. They become more pessimistic when people criticize them. They become more pessimistic when people criticize them. So I think you are crystal clear about the meaning of this first theme. If disabled is handicapped, people are full of tensions. Automatically they are full of tensions. So due to the negativity, now just look at the elaboration of the same theme, they become more pessimistic. बहुत ज्यादा निराशावादी हो जाते हैं जब कोई उनको क्रिटिसाइज करता है. So I think you're crystal clear about the quotation. While you laugh, everybody will laugh with you. While you weep, you will have to weep alone. तो बेटा यहाँ पे ये पॉइंट बिल्कुल सुटेबल बनता है. क्या सुटेबल है कि ये लोग वैसे ही निराशा में होते हैं, वो वैसे ही पेसिमिज्म में आ जाते हैं, पेसिमिज्म में अपनी नेगेटिविटी के कारण आ जाते हैं. लेकिन जब लोग उनकी आलोचना करते हैं, जब लोग उनका मजाक उड़ाते हैं, जब लोग उनको नेगेटिव वे से देखते हैं, they become more pessimistic. I think first theme of this particular chapter is very clear. Now just look at the second theme. Very fine chapter which gives very fine guideline. And you will be able to look at the guideline in a very systematic way because we have to move stepwise. We will not complete the chapter for the sake of completion. To look at every concept, every detail. Or just look at next. We look at the second theme of this particular chapter. Second theme automatically we must have positive approach even in negative circumstances. It's a very fine theme of this particular chapter. So just look at the meaning of it. Uh, Basic meaning of this particular second theme is you must be positive. We must have positive attitude or positive approach even in reverse circumstances. Even in our negativity, we must not lose our confidence. We should be able to look at the things in a positive order. Very easy to say, but practically it becomes very difficult. But while we study a number of stories like this, automatically we are able to look at the things in a very detailed order. तो दूसरा थीम आई थिंक सब बच्चों को क्लियर हो चुका है कि हम लोगों का क्या होना चाहिए, हमारी पॉजिटिव अप्रोच होनी चाहिए चाहे हमारी लाइफ के कोई भी सर्कमस्टेंस हो, नेगेटिव सर्कमस्टेंसेस हो जाए, बिकॉज इट्स लाइफ इज नॉट अ बेड ऑफ रोजेस. तो अगर जिंदगी है तो ऑटोमेटिकली पॉजिटिविटी एंड नेगेटिविटी बोथ विल बी. So we must be able to accept both. We must not be extremely happy to look at the positive state, and we must not be very negative to look at our negative state. So we must learn to maintain balance. ये एक पॉइंट मैंने क्लियर कर दिया ना, लाइफ इज नॉट अ बेड ऑफ रोजेस. जिंदगी है तो इस जिंदगी में ऐसा नहीं हो सकता कि हमेशा ही हम पॉजिटिव पिक में आते हैं. नो, तो नेगेटिविटी इज आल्सो पार्ट ऑफ लाइफ. तो हमारी एजुकेशन हमें क्या सिखाती है, ये हमारा जो लिटरेचर है हमें क्या सिखाता है. वी शुड बी एबल टू मेंटेन बैलेंस. हाँ, कोई प्रॉब्लम है, नेगेटिविटी है, वी मस्ट लुक एट द लॉजिक टू से गुड बाय टू दिस एनी प्रॉब्लम. I think crystal clear so far as second theme of this particular chapter is concerned. Now look at the next step. Now we will have to look at the characters. So if we look at this particular chapter, there are two main characters in this story. I have already told a little bit about the characters in micro introduction of this particular chapter. Just look at now the next step. It's also a part of your introduction. Characters. So automatically we have to look at the main characters of the story. I have told you people that there are two main characters in this particular story. If we look at the first one, Mr. Lamb. So before that, I want to again remind you people, and if we will be there after M, that will be silent. Mr. Lamb. तो लैब बी का जो हम साउंड को इलेबोरेट नहीं करेंगे, इट विल बी साइलेंट. कहीं पे भी ये रूल है, एम के बाद अगर बी आता है दैट रिमेन्स साइलेंट. चाहे वो कॉम हो, चाहे वो लैम हो, whatever it is, you will have to look at the things. There are number of words. So now just look at the things. You should be able to look at the next step. So a little bit introduction of this fellow, Mr. Lamb, old man. I have already told in micro introduction. And if we look at the second brief point about this particular character, was philanthropist. Philanthropist क्या होता है बेटा? The person who involves himself or herself in social work. जो लोगों के भलाई के काम में इन्वॉल्व रहते हैं उनको philanthropist बोला जाता है. That fellow, a philanthropist, automatically should be able to look at the things. He was ever ready to help the humanity. I think you are able to look at the brief points of this particular fellow that is the main character of the story, Mr. Lamb. So, one more point I want to add here. Uh, that fellow was handicapped. अब इस स्टोरी में जब डिटेल में जाओगे इस चैप्टर में, यू विल फाइंड दिस फेलो हैंडीकैप. तो his one leg was of tin, as he had lost his original leg due to some accident. Still, he was very positive. He used to help the humanity from the core of his heart. He used to be enthusiastic. He was full of confidence in spite of his negativity. So I think you are able to look at the glimpse of our second theme also with this. So he was able to implement the things in very positive order. So I think you are crystal clear. You will study about this fellow more while you just look at the chapter in detail. What is the introductory part? You are able to look at Mr. Lamb, very fine fellow, old man, philanthropist, automatically ever ready to help the humanity, and he was handicapped. He had lost his one leg due to some accident. And still he was happy to look at the things. He had compromised with his handicap. He never used to be pessimistic. I think crystal clear about the first character of the story. Now just look at the second character of the story. If we look at second character of the story, that is small guy. Already I have told you in micro introduction, वो बच्चा था एक, small guy was there. So second character of the story, Derek. Daddy. You have to look at this particular fellow. You have to look at 14-year-old. He was just 14-year-old. Was victim of inferiority complex. He was victim of inferiority complex. So you should be able to look at this particular point. Already I have told you that particular point, that while he was very small, he had become sufferer of some accident. What was accident? Acid was spilled on one side of his face. Acid was spilled on one side of his face. You have to look at this particular point. One cheek of his face was completely damaged due to that accident. तो उसका मुंह का जो एक पार्ट था पूरी तरह से डैमेज हो चुका. I think you should be able to look at the second character. The brief intro of this particular fellow, Derek, very small. He was just 14-year-old, the victim of inferiority complexion. Why was he a victim of inferiority complexion? Due to accident. Accident कब हुआ था? जब वो बहुत छोटा था, उसके मुंह पे एसिड गिर गया और उस एसिड के कारण एक साइड जो था उसका फेस का पूरी तरह से डैमेज हो चुका. So I think he used to be pessimistic due to that. Why? You are crystal clear so far as brief intro of this particular character is concerned. So इस चैप्टर में बेटे ऑलरेडी मैंने कहा है कि there are only two characters. and I have given you brief introduction of these two characters, and you will study more about them while you just peep deep into this particular chapter. जब डिटेल में पढ़ोगे बेटे chapter, you will be able to get more. So now just look at very few points again to understand the things in a better way. इस प्ले को स्टार्ट करने से पहले एक दो पॉइंट और समझ लीजिए ताकि आपको इसका जो कॉन्सेप्ट है, इसका बेस है, उसमें कोई कंफ्यूजन ना. So you have to look at this particular point in a very systematic way. तो जो मैंने आपको बताया उसी को सम अप मैं कर रही हूँ. I'm just summing up. So already I've told one must be brave. One must be brave in every situation. Every situation in one's life. So, no grumbling. No grumbling over any handicap or any negativity. You will have to look at the things. Now just look at one more point to look at the base of the chapter. In a few words, we want to highlight this particular point that we must follow positive attitude in our life. By thinking that if we people are on this earth, we will have to face both the situations. So one is positive and the second one is negative. होता क्या एक्चुअली जब पॉजिटिविटी होती है we become extremely happy. तो हम बहुत खुश हो जाते हैं. We just waste a lot of time and और जब नेगेटिविटी होती है तो again the things are on the same order. हम इतने नेगेटिव हो जाते हैं sometimes we become fed up of our life. No, never. We have to maintain balance. यानी कि मैं बार बार आपको ये चैप्टर स्टार्ट करने से पहले ये समझा रही हूँ कि दिस इज द बेसिक लाइफ स्किल ऑफ दिस पर्टिकुलर चैप्टर. तो ये क्लास 2 के बच्चों के लिए ये चैप्टर क्यों है? क्योंकि इस एज में बच्चों को समझ आ जानी चाहिए. आपने 10th में भी एक पोइम पढ़ा था, द बाल पोइम, एपिस्टेमोलॉजी ऑफ लॉस. We should be able to recognize what is epistemology of laws. So I think you're crystal clear about this particular point. और अगर वो पुरानी point को भी जब पढ़ाया गया था, you were crystal clear about this particular point. तो इसमें और डिटेल में बताया जाएगा. I think you are crystal clear about the introductory part of this particular chapter, and you will have to design as many questions as you like from this particular part, and you have to look at the next part during our next class. This is all for today. तो दोबारा मैं जो important announcement है कर रही हूँ कि कल से तुम्हारा जो है offline doubt clearing sessions or classes, you can name anything, will be there. So if you want to attend, you are most welcome. लेकिन ट्रांसपोर्टेशन आपको अपना यूज करना होगा. तो दूसरा पॉइंट जो टाइम स्केड्यूल होगा, दैट विल बी प्रोवाइडेड via WhatsApp or via message. So I think crystal clear about today's lecture. Any doubt, any query, I am available.